all, and welcome to tonight's beer review, which I am dubbing the unfortunate beer review because I have some really bad news. Well, I guess for the third time since I started doing beer reviews, I've lost. Well, I haven't lost my job, but due to a very long series of unfortunate events, which I can't really relate here for a variety of reasons, one of which is time. They cut my hours at work by 13 hours, which includes a good deal of about 8 overtime hours. So my income dropped quite precipitously, which means that I am not able to spend money on things like beers to review. My income rate, my monthly income right now is in the low negatives. I'm currently losing about 100, by my estimations, about 100 to 200 a month, because my income level is now so low. Luckily, I have a few $1,000s in savings, so I have some cushioning, but that also means paring the budget quite a bit, which means no more beers to review. However, there are still free beers to review, and what do I mean by that? Well, there are a couple cans of Heineken in my grandfather's refrigerator. He's a little bit too old to be drinking, and my uncle doesn't drink. So these were leftovers from a party about a month ago. And I thought, well, why not? I haven't reviewed Heineken yet. So let's get to it. So, Heineken. It's a macro lager. Macro lager from Holland, and for reasons that are a little bit beyond me, it is the most popular beer in Hawaii, where it is basically known as the green can lager, or green bottle lager. People tend to like it in bottles here. The green bottle lager. Oh, pass me one out of green bottle, okay? You know, it's like pretty much just it's like saying I want to have another beer. Beer being, of course, Heineken. Let's read the label, shall we? In 1873, Gerard Heineken founded a small family-owned startup. Today, over 140 years later, the Heineken brewery has grown a little bigger, but it's still family-owned, and the Heineken family name is still on every one of our beers. That's why every drop that goes into Heineken must be absolutely perfect. Crafted with just 3 ingredients, all of them natural, Heineken is brewed to the same quality all over the world. After all, when your family name is at stake, you care a little more. So raise your Heineken, here's to family. So, give them credit, even though they are a macro lager, they use no adjuncts, it's just barley, water, and hops. For some reason, they don't give you the ABV on the can anywhere. It's 5.0 ABV, if you're wondering, but they do give some information that you rarely see on a beer can, which is the calories. So 142 calories, okay. 11 grams of carbohydrates and 2 grams of protein. So here's to that, yeah? I need to clean the top of this. It's been sitting in the refrigerator a little bit too long. Okay, so pouring this out into a Pilsner glass. Nobody pours out a Heineken in Hawaii. I don't think people generally pour out macro lagers, to tell the truth. That said, it's making a pretty nice head here. So, Euro light lager, can definitely tell. Very light coloration, very bubbly, with a frothy white head. See here? Nicely bubbly. Looks pretty good in glass. Some sweet, almost honeyed malts. And flowery hops. Doesn't smell too offensive. A little bit sweeter than, like most macro lagers, tends to have a bit of a sweet nose. very light bodied. Almost watery on the palate. Oddly enough, not that prickly. Carbonation doesn't really seem to don't really feel it on the tongue. Because it is in a can instead of a bottle, there's no skunk. The green bottles are notorious for being skunked, and to the point where people actually like that sort of skunky, light-blown, light-struck flavor here in Hawaii, and consider it kind of like, oh, that's good. Here it's nice and clean, almost a little too clean. Almost nothing in this finish, just very light sweetness, very light hop bitterness, almost like water in the finish. Front, small amount of carbonation bite, small amount of hop bitterness bite. In the mids, some malty sweetness. Not very well defined, just sweetness in the malt. Fades into a very, very, very light hop bitterness in the finish. But finishes more or less clean. No real off notes, again, because this is in a can. So no really bad flavors, but not really much flavor at all, to tell the truth. Again, very light hop bitterness. Very light sweetness for the malts. Not much dimensionality there in either case. Great if you're at the beach, I suppose. There are macro lagers. One reason why I don't really like Heineken all that much, not really much anything there. If I'm going to go with like a macro lager, I'm probably going to go with like a Mexican one where there's, like Tecate or something, where there's actual, like, some dimensionality there. Not much dimensionality. Excuse me. Tecate or maybe Pabst Blue Ribbon. Either or, you're not really getting, you're not really going to be finding a huge plethora of flavor in these macro lagers. So, Heineken. You can explain how it became so popular in Hawaii. It's actually a bit of a historical mystery for me. It wasn't hugely popular when I was young. It's something that kind of came up in late 90s, early 2000s, where it just sort of blew up. State was sort of a Budweiser, Coors kind of state before that. And then this stuff kind of took over. Go figure. Well, at least on Oahu. I know on Big Island is still Stein Lager is the green bottle beer there. Because Big Island, well, each island likes to go and do its own thing in certain respects. So at the 9-minute point here, I guess I'm just kind of rambling on because I don't really have much to review here. Heineken is what it is. I wouldn't go out of my way and buy it, but, I'd probably, let's be honest, I'd probably drink it out of a cooler at a party if there's nothing else there. So, that's your beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers.